Hi, this is Steve Podmore, and this is my second Life in a Stroke video. Well, I just wanted to talk to camera to reflect a little bit on Mum's situation. So on Saturday just gone, it's 11 weeks since she had her stroke. And at 84, she is, she's at the later stages of her life. Now, in the period, the almost 3 months, she's almost been confined to her bed. Now, she has been up and walking. She's able to move between the bed and the chair. When she has support from the physiotherapist or the healthcare assistants, occasionally the nurses, she is walking, not any great distance, and her walking is weak. But when you consider for the first 10 days of her stroke, she couldn't walk at all because her right leg was paralyzed, as was her right arm. There was no movement at all. I think she's doing fantastic. So her right leg is moving, although it's weaker than her left leg, and her right arm now is moving, but really it is only barely moving. So being right-handed originally, that is a big change for her. She's now had to take over, and her left hand is doing all the work, and she's doing really well. She's got other cognitive challenges and aphasia, but my mum is aware of what's going on, and although she really cannot communicate other than yes, and yes isn't really given with any great certainty because she answers yes to most things, but there are signs that some of her language might come back. Her stroke was serious. It was 50 to 60% of the left side of the brain appeared to be essentially gone. When I was shown the scans, both on the very first day and recently in the family meeting that we had. And I've learned about this thing called neuroplasticity. Plasticity. So the brain can essentially fill in the gaps. It can create new neural pathways. But at 84, to relearn things and to have the sort of energy that's required to do that is significant. So I have to be honest and realize as much help as she's going to get and I'm going to provide, the path forward is very difficult. But it got me thinking about, how much time she's actually spending, inactive compared to what she was prior to the stroke and in the years previously. She's had other health issues, and each time, weeks or sometimes months in bed or inactive, it means the muscles atrophy. And when I look at the quality of the stroke care here in the United Kingdom, it's significant in many respects. But I do feel that the rehab that people like my mum are able to achieve and able to get is very, very small in comparison to what they need. And of course, fatigue is a big thing with a stroke. But of course, fatigue at any age makes it even more difficult. So when you add fatigue with the need for exercise and moving the muscles and the rehabilitation, my basic question for everybody is, are people getting what they need? And if they're not, how can family members or healthcare assistants or the system as a whole fill in the gaps? Because for sure, it's really a minefield in terms of information that's out there. Yes, the physios and other people you encounter do give some instruction and some advice, but is it formalized? Well, I think, of course, there are many, many different forms of strokes and that affect people in different ways with different ages, and the needs are different. But it's almost like we need a comprehensive program that enables people to kind of select what part of that program they or their loved ones need to get the very best support provided in whatever way possible. And the purpose of Life in a Stroke is to talk about these issues and to talk about them not just in the United Kingdom, but all over the world. We know stroke is such a killer, but also with around 15 million people having a stroke each year and 5 million passing away, very sadly, do they pass away straight away or do they pass away much sooner? And of those other 10 million, half, 5 million, they have significant disabilities or affected significantly because of their stroke. And then you also have the 5 million that survive and really do thrive. But what is their journey? So the whole area of stroke, although it's very personal, it's also very interesting to me because of the effect on society. So that's the basic question I have. And if anyone wants to respond, I'd love to know people's feedback and people's thoughts. I'm going to post this on Instagram, but also on the maybe even to TikTok if I can, although it might be a bit long at approaching 6 minutes. But I'm also going to put it onto the new Life in a Stroke YouTube channel. The goal is lining up interviews to discuss these things. That's what I'm doing at the moment. And although initially I'll be posting just like this, my random thoughts, but also some specific thoughts based on conversations I've had and experiences with mum. Yeah, the question is, how often do our healthcare systems enable stroke survivors and their families to take 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back? And that big one is, how do you stop the muscles atrophying? How do you gain strength in the best way possible and do so at an advanced age? Of course, we've got to do this at any age, and young stroke survivors especially, because they've got their lives ahead of them. But I'm very cognizant of the fact that my mum's stroke could shorten her life significantly. Now, she has other health problems. She has AF and she has bronchiectasis. So I am aware that she doesn't have that many years ahead of her anyway. But I'm keen to make sure that those that she does have, she enjoys quality of life and she can enjoy those years safely. Now, of course, if your muscles atrophy and you are a lot weaker, then the chances that you're going to have a fall increase. So that's the basic question. When does care do more harm than good? Or where does care fall short from what it really is intended for? Okay, well, thanks for watching. I'm going to post this to the blog, to the channel, and elsewhere. And please do subscribe, like if you think this is valuable, and of course, send me suggestions and people you think this should be interviewed about this and other subjects related to life in a stroke. Well, thanks again for watching.